Welcome back to Files, where we dive deep into the shadows of history and unravel the conspiracies that shape our world. If you thought natural disasters were limited to earthquakes, tsunamis, and hurricanes, think again. Today, we're exploring the bizarre and often man-made catastrophes that defy conventional explanations. Buckle up as we journey into the unknown and uncover some of the most mind-boggling disasters ever recorded. The Great Molasses Flood, Boston's sticky nightmare. If there's one thing everyone knows about molasses, it's that it's an extremely viscous, slow-moving substance, hence the common phrase, slow as molasses. But what if I told you that in 1919, a molasses flood swept through Boston at 35 miles per hour? It sounds like a scene from a sci-fi movie, but for the people in Boston's North End, it was a terrifying reality. On January 15, 1919, the Purity Distilling Company on Commercial Street had a massive tank filled with molasses. The previous day, the company had received a large shipment of heated molasses to make it less viscous for transfer into the tank. The fresh batch began to heat the older, colder batch already in the tank. This problem intensified when the freezing temperatures rapidly climbed above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, causing the pressure to become too much for the tank to bear. At approximately 12:30 p.m., the tank gave out. Rivets fired out like bullets, and 2.3 million gallons of molasses burst from the tank in a giant wave, rushing through the streets of Boston. The force was so great that people were thrown several feet through the air. Buildings were destroyed, and a truck was hurled into Boston Harbor. The wave caused 21 deaths and 150 injuries, with victims suffering from debris impact, drowning, and suffocation. The cleanup took weeks, and for decades, residents claimed the North End smelled like molasses on hot days. The Plague of Scorpions, Egypt's biblical disaster. Our next story takes us to Aswan, Egypt, a city with one of the hottest, sunniest, and driest climates in the world. In November 2021, Aswan experienced a freak weather event that could only be described as biblical. It began with a sandstorm, not uncommon for the region. But this sandstorm turned into a torrential downpour, flooding the streets with over 2 inches of rain. The storm then escalated into a hailstorm, something the city had never seen before. The real disaster began when the flooding destroyed the nests of thousands of scorpions. These scorpions, including the highly venomous fat-tailed scorpion and the deathstalker, invaded homes across the city. Over 500 people were stung, leading to a frantic administration of anti-venom by doctors who were called in from vacation and diverted from COVID vaccine facilities. While initial reports claimed 3 deaths, Egypt's health ministry later denied this. The city of Aswan now faces a long road to recovery from this unprecedented disaster. The Whiskey Fire, Dublin's Flaming River. On June 18, 1875, in Dublin, Lawrence Malone's bonded storehouse on Ardee Street caught fire. The storehouse contained 5,000 hogsheads of whiskey, or over 315,000 gallons. No one knows how the fire started, but it quickly spread. By 9:30 p.m., the barrels inside the storehouse began to explode, releasing a flaming river of whiskey 2 feet wide and 6 inches deep through the streets. Captain James Robert Ingram of the Dublin Fire Brigade, a former New York firefighter known for unconventional strategies, knew better than to use water on the alcohol fire. Instead, he called for soldiers to pull up paving stones and fill the area with sand and gravel, but this proved ineffective. In a stroke of ingenuity, Ingram used cartloads of manure to build dams that absorbed the whiskey and extinguished the flames. While the fire caused millions of pounds in damage, no one died from burns or smoke inhalation. However, 13 people died from alcohol poisoning after drinking from the river of whiskey. The Oakville Blobs, a mysterious gelatinous rain. In 1994, the small town of Oakville, Washington, experienced a phenomenon straight out of a sci-fi thriller. On August 7th at approximately 3 a.m., it began to rain a clear, jelly-like substance. Officer David Lacey, on patrol, noticed that the substance smeared across his windshield instead of being wiped away. Over the next 3 weeks, the blobs fell from the sky 6 times, covering a 20-square-mile area. Residents began experiencing severe flu-like symptoms lasting up to 8 weeks, and multiple pets died after contact with the substance. Analysis revealed the blobs contained 2 types of bacteria, and some samples even had human white blood cells. One theory suggests the blobs were pieces of jellyfish launched into the clouds by military bombing runs 50 miles away. The U.S. Air Force confirmed conducting bombing runs, but denied any involvement in the blobs' creation. Despite investigations, the Oakville blobs remain an unsolved mystery. The Boston Molasses Flood Sweet Disaster. The eruption of Mount Tambora. This volcanic eruption, which occurred in April 1815 on the Indonesian island of Sumbawa, remains the most powerful eruption in recorded history. Mount Tambora's eruption was so massive that it ejected an estimated 160 cubic kilometers of volcanic material into the atmosphere. The explosion was heard as far away as 2,000 kilometers, and the ash fall blanketed the surrounding islands, causing immediate devastation. The local impact was catastrophic, killing tens of thousands of people from pyroclastic flows, ashfall, and tsunamis generated by the explosion. But the disaster didn't end there. The massive amount of volcanic ash and sulfur dioxide released into the stratosphere created a global climate anomaly. These particles reflected sunlight away from Earth, causing significant global cooling. The year following the eruption, 1816, became known as the Year Without a Summer. In Europe and North America, temperatures dropped dramatically. Frosts and snowfalls were reported in June, July, and August, causing widespread crop failures. The agricultural disaster led to food shortages, riots, and economic downturns. In Switzerland, the lack of a summer inspired Mary Shelley to write Frankenstein, as she and her peers were confined indoors by the harsh weather. The climatic effects of Mount Tambora's eruption were felt worldwide for years. This event serves as a stark reminder of how interconnected our world is and how a single volcanic eruption can have far-reaching consequences on a global scale. The eruption of Mount Tambora is a testament to the power of nature and its ability to affect human history profoundly. As we continue to monitor volcanic activity around the world, we must remember the lessons of Tambora and the importance of preparedness for such unpredictable events. Conclusion: these bizarre and often man-made disasters challenge our understanding of the world and remind us of the unexpected dangers lurking in everyday life. From the sticky chaos of the Great Molasses Flood to the deadly reign of scorpions in Egypt, these events defy logic and push the boundaries of what we consider possible. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the strangest disasters in history, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Files for more intriguing content. Let us know in the comments which disaster you found most fascinating, or if you have any theories of your own. Until next time, keep questioning and exploring the unknown.